Hey guys, it's Ruben, back for another YouTube video. Today's topic of discussion is gonna be related to haters. And this theme has been recurring throughout my entire life. And I read somewhere that the more haters you have, the likelihood of you succeeding just increases tenfold. And so with that being said, I just want to go ahead and say, if there's anybody out here who's doing better than you, they wouldn't be bothering you. They've got things much bigger and better to worry about than to worry about you. And so if you guys have haters, that tells you as to where they're at in comparison to you. So here you are, here's your hater, they're down here, and if you engage in any behavior, negative behavior that they started, you'll end up down here. And so that's why haters, are like bees to honeys, because they feel deep inside, well, like self-esteem is way below the line where it should be. And so when they see a guy or a girl, shining brighter than they are, doing their thing, and they realize that they might just be doing a little bit better than them, they get all sad and emotional. And it's like, it takes that same kind of energy, right, to be able to do something better for yourself than to hate on somebody else who's doing a little bit better than you. And so I never really understood it. It used to bother me, but now it's like I see it as a round of applause. And in some cases, but not most, it makes me want to do things even stronger, even faster, even harder. So in today's case, until Sunday, I wasn't gonna shoot a YouTube video. Here I am talking about it. Why? Because earlier today, I had this moment with this hater, which was like, I don't know, it's like I said, anybody who's doing better than you isn't worried about you. Anybody who's doing less than you, I don't know, they get all into their feelings. It's like, I sound repetitive now, but this needs to resonate with these people. It's like that same energy it takes to hate is the exact same kind of energy it takes for you to do something on your own, do something better for yourself, instead of like instead of like looking down on those who are doing a little bit better than you. And so that's what this video was all about. And I used to pray for these people, but some of the time they have no hope. They're just like, they got this resentment. It's like, I don't even know you. Like, please back the fuck away from me. And slowly but surely they learn. It's like, a lot of times what these haters want to engage in is, or a lot of times what these haters want to do is to like disturb your peace so that you go bizarre, and then they label you as the crazy guy. And given that I understand that now for the last 2 years, finally, right? I don't react. I just take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and just try to look the other way around, because it's like, I don't I don't care. Just stay in your lane, bro. And so that's how I just been handling my stuff lately. It's like, I just ignore them, stay in my own lane, allow them to be in their own lane, and that's really it. And the other thing I want to talk about is my family structure. It's been broken lately. A lot of it was my fault too. A lot of it wasn't. A lot of it had to do with bad programming my own parents received, or one of them influencing the other in not such a positive way. And without getting too in depth with my family problems, I feel as though, me being the problem, or appearing to be one, is somebody who wants to break out of that generational curse. And without sounding too dramatic, I feel like within my family roots, or in one side of my family I should say, they've just been repeatedly giving their offsprings the wrong message. And so when they tried to broadcast that message to me, at first I might have fell for it. Later on, as I opened my eyes a little bit more, I'm just like, this does not resonate with me. Go ahead, label me the black sheep, but I'm gonna distance myself from the BS. And so within my family, I'm looked as the black sheep, and at first it bothered me, but now it's like knowing that I'm getting away from that generational curse. I'm doing everybody a favor, my offsprings included. And so for anybody, going through something similar, who you feel like there's no escaping, realize that there is. And I say that because for 2 straight years, I remember just being like borderline depressed. And I couldn't understand why they treated me like that. Like, I was living at home with mom and dad in their couch, and it just felt hard to like break out of that, because so much things happened where it was like hard for me to move out. Finally I did, and ever since I've been living on my own, I find myself a little bit more at peace. I find myself a little bit more sure of myself, and even more than that, I see right through stuff even more than I did even before. And so just being alone has helped tremendously. And like I said, I've been in that situation where I felt stuck. It was so bad because like my family, they would just like constantly disturb me while I was trying to like hold my breath. And it was hard. I'll give you guys an example. I used to do Uber, and as much as I loved the job, the pay just wasn't adequate when compared to working for the company, meaning, car insurance, gas, and car maintenance was my expenses to drive for this company exceeded any profits I would have received. And it didn't help that, these customers didn't always tip. And so I've learned a long time ago not to work for tips. It's just like too stressful. And I was in a bad spot, really bad spot. I treated people bad, and it had nothing to do with them. It was just like my projections onto them as to how I felt inside. And so I know firsthand what it's like to, feel stuck, feel depressed, and feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But sure enough, there was. And I actually do want to thank my sister for this one, because she did, offer a hand. And immediately I was placed at a different location temporarily. And while things didn't last, meaning things went south immediately, it wasn't as bad as I'd been living with my parents. I forgot, we were on the topic of how they used to treat me. And I don't blame them. This is not for you guys to like feel bad for me. This is just what I went through and how I felt. So I used to work for Uber. I liked the job, but like I mentioned, the pay just wasn't there. And I used to work from from midnight to like 6 in the morning. I would avoid traffic. I would avoid the sun hitting my face. And there were normally rides that took me to the airport and back. So there were good rides, despite the fact that it was like in the middle of the night. And so for a while I did that. And I would remember, going home on that couch and sleep from like 7 to 12 or 6 to 12, whatever the case might have been, when I did get home. And my dad, he'd always call me lazy. He'd always like poke at me like while I was trying to sleep, and I couldn't understand it. I would have talks with him, and I would tell him like, Dad, I work from 12 to 6 in the morning. I need some sleep at the end of the day. I just, it's not that I sleep all day, or maybe it is that I sleep all day, but I also work. And he would understand and tell me, that I'm doing okay. But then that same thing would go, the same cycle. Like, they'd call me lazy. They'd poke, I would be eating dinner. They'd poke, like my dad would just poke me out of nowhere on my side. And then I remember one time I did get upset, and I just like got up. I was like, why do you do that? And ever since that day, he stopped messing with me like that. But that was, a repetitive cycle that I went through. And I was, that's just one example of how many other bad scenarios I had, going on with my life. Not to mention the people, who loved me and cared for me, who I pushed out. But I was going through a lot of things, like life or death stuff. Imagine for a minute that you're taking medication, that requires you to take it, otherwise you slowly die. And as drastic as that sounds, that's still my case. If I don't take this medicine, I die. Not overnight, but throughout, slowly but surely, that's what it would lead to. I take anti-rejection medicine. I had a liver transplant years back. And no, it's not what you think it is. I had it for, everybody is always quick to jump and have their conclusions. And it's like, I get it, but no. But anyways, these pills that I take, I shit you not, they go for $1,000 a bottle, and I have 3 different bottles. So that's over like $2,800 I have to spend every month. Now, thankfully, I have insurance. But during this time that I was telling you guys about, that I wasn't doing so hot, not only was I not doing so hot, I had no insurance policy for a while. And that made things harder. I remember just feeling like, how did I feel? Like I said, it was just like, I'm in such a better place now that I almost forgot what it was like, feeling like that. Let me tell you, sometimes when I would wake up, I would just lay there, try to close my eyes just because it was so bad for me just to get up. And that was also the case when I had this other job, once I had moved out to my sister's. My sister's place was better, but the job was awful. And it didn't help that the boss there, the manager, he was hating on me because I was shining harder than me. Now, the power of law, or like, I forget what it's called, the book of like 33 rules for like law or something related to that. I guess one of the mistakes you don't want to make is outshining the master. And in this case, he felt threatened by my presence. And so he made it difficult for me to like just have fun and work that job. And let me tell you guys something. I had fun originally the first 2-3 days. It was a piece of cake working there. But the boss caught on, he saw me that I was happy and smiling, and he couldn't accept that. And that was a recurring theme, growing up and holding different jobs. I was always the happy guy. I was always the positive guy. I was always the team player. But those same haters, would work together and try to like make my life hard because they were miserable. And it's like, that's sad, but that's what it was. Finally, recently I've started working for myself and I've never looked back. I've worked back at that same place that I didn't like, or that I did like, but then I had issues with the with management, but I worked for a different franchise owner. The people were better, but this guy ended up being like not such a smart guy. And so like when I realized he wasn't the smartest, I just kind of left. And I had my agenda behind it. You know, I know what I could do for him, but nobody sees it right now. And that's okay. You know, sometimes you gotta plant your seeds, and that's what I do half the time. You know, in any business engagement, I gotta plant seeds first. I can't expect a deal after meeting them. That's another lesson I've learned, you know, moving forward in business. It's like, actually, that was like a big light bulb when I realized nobody's gonna trust you on day one. Like, yeah, you could leave a good first impression, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get the deal. They don't know you. And so, you know, getting off topic, to the haters, to being in the bad spot, to finally getting this light bulb in my head and starting to work for myself, I realized, you know, nobody is gonna buy off you first without knowing you a little better. And so I got the hang of things. I can only go forward now. And despite my situation, you know, what I realized the other day is, in my own ways, I'm successful. And people spreading and talking rumors, you know, they're already behind me. You know, the fact that they are so worried about my life tells you where they're at. Back to what I was saying before. Anybody who's doing better than you isn't going to be worried about you. And so in my case, you know, I don't feel bad. I feel better about myself knowing that these people, you know, these haters, they're way behind me. And the more haters I get, the more successful I become. You know, I didn't think I was going to shoot this video today. But guess what motivated me to shoot it? And a hater I encountered with earlier today at Dollar Tree. And so that's just how it goes. It's like, oh, any obstacles they try to put, any things they try to do to make your life harder, sometimes it ends up working in your favor. And that's always been, 9 out of 10 times, that's always been the case for me. And so I just keep shining brighter. Now, mind you, there are times where, you know, they do things to make me want to scream. Nah, that's an exaggeration. But sometimes, you know, they do get you upset. Like that one time they decided to slash all 4 of my tires. But imagine this. That happens, but it just so happens that I also had like insurance on all 4 of my tires. So it's like they try to hurt you, but in the end, I got 4 sets of new tires, you know, replaced at a discounted price because they were insured. And it's things like that, you know, where they think they're gonna hurt you, but you end up profiting off their behavior. And so haters, you know, they haven't grasped the simple concept that if they worked and worried about themselves instead of, you know, looking at somebody else to put down, they themselves could level up higher than the person they're hating on in the first place. And so without giving them too much insight, you know, I'm gonna leave this video at that and say, anybody who's hating on you, they're like miles behind you, and you shouldn't even look back. Just look forward, keep on concentrating and focus on you. You know, the more haters is a kind reminder from the universe of how successful you are or you are becoming. And so with that being said, happy Sunday to everybody. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to, you know, hearing me out and what I had to say today. And I want to thank that hater earlier that I came across for pushing me forward to getting this video up online today. And so I thank God too. Sunday, and looking forward to another day. Remember, guys, the best part of the day is waking up. And so long as you remember that too, you'll never be in a bad mood, regardless of who or what obstacle gets put in your way. So I'm out. See you in the next one.